With Secrets of Power fully revealed and pre-releases starting next week, it's time to begin posting one of my favorite parts of Star Wars Unlimited because of how many incredible options we have. It's time for our deck profiles, and we're going to be posting a ton of profiles in the Secrets of Power season. So if you enjoy off-meta, different, interesting decks, I want you to stick around. But today we're going to be looking at one of the most anticipated leader upgrades of the new set. That's Boba Fett. But my take is a little different. There's a lot of people out there playing green Boba Fetts. I'm on double aggression Fett. If you like dealing damage, you like pushing damage, controlling the board, wiping the board, this does everything. This damage. Let's get right into it. What's up, everyone? It's Dan with Main Deck, back with our first Set 6 Secrets of Power Premier deck profile, looking at Aggression Boba Fett 30 health base. This is Boba Fett 4, as we like to call him, the Jump to Lightspeed Boba Fett, but in the current format, no, I'm sorry, there are two Boba Fetts legal, but this is the Villainy one, any methods necessary. This deck is all about pushing as much damage as possible, but with a key combo, a huge board wipe enabled by Secrets of Power's new plot mechanic and the card Topple the Summit. So this is a deck where you can push lots and lots of damage, indirect damage at the opponent, while you also control the board and stop them from getting out of hand by your flip turn. Very capable of really just wiping everything that your opponent has built so far, forcing them to rebuild while you either continue to push attacks in or get to your end game, which has a lot of raw straight to the face damage to close the door as you've already put a lot of pressure on them. So let's start looking with, of course, our leader, which is going to be Boba Fett, any methods necessary. As we said, this is the Spotlight deck leader, actually from set 4. We've seen both the Spotlight deck leaders really come into their own as the card pool has increased. This has the ability when you deal non-combat damage, so any of your effects that are just going to deal damage to the opponent rather than just the damage you dealt from attacking, you can exhaust the leader to deal 1 indirect damage to a player, which is usually going to be your opponent. Actually, always, I think you're going to be your opponent in this deck. There are no cheeky interactions with the mono-red, mono-aggression version. But that means, yeah, you're going to have a lot of effects that are just going to deal either damage to units or their base. And then after you do that, once per turn, you can exhaust Boba Fett to deal an additional indirect damage to them, which allows him to keep pushing that pressure on. Now, the really powerful thing is when he flips on 6 resources, he's going to either deploy to ground, which you don't want to do unless it really makes sense. Your opponent's really controlled your space and you need to push that damage. You really want to deploy him as a pilot onto something, because when he's deployed as a pilot, he has a when deployed trigger to divide 4 damage as you choose among any number of units. Now, the reason this is so strong, we're going to point this out right away. Make sure we don't fail to mention, because this is really what people are doing with Boba Fett in the Secrets of Power metagame now. Topple the Summit. This is a new 5-cost event that deals 3 damage to each damaged unit, and it has plot, which means plot is so strong. We did a whole video covering it. It's linked down in the description below if you need an update on kind of a refresher or a just even a 101 course on how plot and disclose work in the new set. Plot allows you to play this card when you deploy your leader as a part of that same action. You don't give your opponent any actions in between, and that's why this is so strong, because plot's timing is the same timing as a when deployed trigger on a leader, meaning you get to choose what order you resolve these 2 things in, whether you resolve Boba Fett's first and then the plot, or the plot first and then Boba Fett's ability. And of course, with Topple the Summit, you want to resolve Boba Fett's ability first, because that's going to allow you to immediately spread 4 damage around to make multiple enemies take lethal damage from Topple the Summit. Even if there's only 1 unit out there that is 7 HP and no damage on it, you can deal 4 with Boba Fett and then Topple to take it out, which is many leaders in the game. But because of the indirect damage pressure that Fett is going to mount on them, as well as some other effects that deal damage, you can very easily set up to wipe multiple things. I have done, let's see, I think four enemy units has been my most that I've wiped on the flip turn. They had a very healthy board. I took initiative and I wiped all 4 things before they could deal damage, but 3s are very common, 2s are very common. It's very easy to get multiple for 1, 3 for 1, 2 for 1, 4 for 1 with Topple the Summit, and it's being played out of your resources and just replaces itself with a new resource too, so you're not even going down any cards in hand. and you do it all in a single action. If you have initiative and you have a ship in play, there is nothing the opponent can do to stop this from wiping tons of their stuff. It's an extremely powerful combination. It's what you're going to see people doing the Boba Fett. Now, like I said in the intro, a lot of players are playing green because Boba Fett Data Vault was a strong deck in the last metagame, and it just gained Topple the Summit, right? Now, I didn't want to do Data Vault because I actually don't want the deck to be bigger because I want to see Topple the Summit more often. And I started to build this as a green 30 health base Boba Fett deck, and I realized I really don't have that many command cards in here. And while the ones I was playing were very good, things like Overwhelming Barrage, things like Super Laser Technician, I realized that I could actually do some other quite powerful things if I just go double aggression instead. And it sounded fun, and it is very fun. So I'm not sure that this is going to be the top tier version of this deck. You might want to go to one of the content creators covering Fett Data Vault or something if you want something that, you know, is going to have some chops, going to have something behind it. Maybe it's going to perform really well. But I got to say, if you like the aggression playstyle, or just you like winning games, this has been a very strong deck for me so far, and it's very fun, and you get to do some cool things with the mono aggression, which we'll talk about shortly. But with that combo out of the way, you got to make sure you know that, and that's going to make a lot of the deck make sense. Let's jump in and start talking about the rest of the card pool, because our base is just a 30 health base. You got to have health, but it's really nice to be able to run a 30 health base in here. Sure, you could run Tarkin Town. You could definitely run Tarkin Town here if you wanted to. I have not needed it. Personally, it just hasn't been super important. Even very aggressive decks, I'm able to race out pretty well with this deck. So I like that extra health. I'm going for it. But hey, you want that Tarkin Town spice? Go for it. I'm going to stick with the spice and the spice mines. Now, our first non-leader, non-base unit is going to be First Order Stormtrooper. I love this guy in Boba Fett. I think he's a staple in the Boba Fett decks. You're going to have a lot of turns where you have one floating resource based on how your hand of ships might look or something. You drop that First Order Stormtrooper down there, and you know nobody wants to attack into this guy. He's got the one defeated indirect damage, which then triggers Boba Fett. Indirect damage, does 2 damage on his own. And if they do attack into him, you're setting up for Topple the Summit. You didn't take damage on your base. You damaged their unit. Honestly, you're living the good life when they attack into him. When they don't attack into him, he's just pushing 2 damage and indirect and then triggering Boba every single turn. What the? He's good. I love this guy. He's so sweet. Now, our next unit is going to be Bo-Katan. Now, I'm going to be honest about this. I'm playing this because I've always wanted to play Bo-Katan in decks, and I just haven't played a lot of double aggression. I haven't wanted to put Bo-Katan in a lot of the decks. There are other options for this slot for sure. I wanted to make sure I had enough turn 1 plays. I could have put another ship in, but we kind of put in some of the better ships, I think, for the deck. Could have put in something like Price. Admiral Price is one that I looked at. Cyril Karn from Secrets of Power, another decent option here. But I like Bo-Katan because she's a 3/3. She's got a better stat line than those other ones. So if they attack into her, they're going to take more damage. They might clear something a little sooner. And this one defeated is pretty solid in the late game as well, allowing you to kind of just restock your hand. I don't usually have a lot of trouble with my hand size, but there's more discard strategies floating around in the metagame right now. So I don't mind having this out here as something that can pretty quickly get to card draw territory because of the amount of pressure that you put on the opponent. And she's just a 2 of in here, just kind of like shoring up those turn 1 plays, making sure you don't have too many rough draws with the deck. So that's what she's there for. Solid stat line, can sometimes draw cards in the later game. Now HK47, he's a 3 of in here. I love HK in this deck. Oh man, he is fun because yeah, there's just going to be pressure mounting on their units because they're good. They have to start spreading the indirect damage that they start taking from Boba Fett every single turn when all of your stuff's dealing damage, let alone when you get those first orders coming in there. Some of the other triggers are going to start dealing that extra damage, or you're going to spread damage onto their things. Stuff's going to get damaged. Stuff's going to die. HK can sometimes do really cool things like right now, if they're playing a deck with spy tokens, HK's crazy. He clears spies, deals 1 to their base, and then triggers Boba Fett indirect damage that they have to go and spread onto something or take on the base. So you can basically deal 2 to base by just clearing a spy with HK47 if they take the indirect to the base. So it's like he attacked base, but he cleared board instead. Which just feels really good. He's obnoxious. Again, another thing they just feel like, I guess I just have to get rid of this thing or he's going to mount more damage on me. And then that just puts more damage on their units for you to clear later with Topple the Summit. So that feels really good every time. And then after those units, our ground units are just high things you don't even care about putting on ground because the rest of the deck is going to space. We have Cinta Kaz in our ground units here, who we only play because she's a crazy, crazy plot. She's really like, she's shoring up our plot plays with Boba Fett, because if you can't find Topple the Summit, or if it's just not useful for you in that phase and you're looking for speed instead, you can plot out Synta-Kaz on the flip turn for Boba Fett and immediately do something like attack with your piloted fire spray and do a ridiculous amount of damage to them. Plus you put a 5/5 in play. One time this has betrayed me where we were in a really close, very aggressive match, and then putting the Synta-Kaz out allowed them to ambush their maul into Kaz and overwhelm for the last two to get the win. I'm like, okay, it's going to happen sometimes, I guess, but I think usually she's very worth playing. Definitely just a nice kind of 2 of in here, just to have another option for that really strong plot play to really make sure we get our value with our leader, because that's the big thing about pilots. They're easily answerable. You want to get as much value as you can, and that's what this deck is built to do. And then finally, man, I love Darth Vader's Scourge of Squadrons in this deck. So powerful. There are lines, which we'll talk about a little later, to just close the game out super fast on turn 4 or on turn 3 with a Darth Vader strike ship play. We'll talk about that shortly, but really a lot of the time you're just going to play a ship turn 1, and if you have Vader in hand, you're going to throw the Vader on there, because it really reduces the amount of cards that they have that can immediately answer you. Now, you don't want to do that into like a Power of the Dark Side that just takes it out, but if they're playing just like an aggression command deck or something, or like double command or something, there's not a lot they can do. There's not a lot they're going to be able to do. You throw that Vader onto a ship, suddenly you're attacking for 6, start pinging their board. That ping from Vader's on attack triggers Boba Fett, put the indirect damage on. Sometimes it kills something, deal a damage to another unit or their base. It's really good. Vader is very, very strong. I've never played him as a unit actually in this deck. I guess it's an option. But you have lots of ships, lots of ways to put him down as a pilot, and if they can't answer him right away, he turns the game around so fast. But with our ground units out of the way, let's talk about our space units here. And I'm going to start with one of the weirdest cards you're going to see in here, but I will explain the one of Forge Starfighter. Just one of our 1-cost 1/1 hidden raid 1. Why on earth would I put this in this deck? Topple the Summit costs 5. And I think this is actually a really, really clutch card. It's going to save you games by having this in here. Topple the Summit costs 5. That means you are going to have games where you're going to go to your turn 5, your flip turn for your leader with their topple and plot. You're ready to win the game, but they took initiative. And you only have one ship in play in their very first action. They rivals follow the ship or something. They get rid of the ship and they go, ha ha, you cannot flip your leader and do your thing anymore. And that's why you play the Forged Starfighter. You pay 1 for it. It's hidden. Even if they have ships in play, they can't attack it now. You've greatly reduced the ways that they're going to be able to stop you from plotting the Topple the Summit, and then your next action, you flip Boba, Topple the Summit, clear the board, and now you have a 5/5 raid 1 in play. That still is hidden for what it's worth, but that's something that they're now going to have to deal with. It's a present threat. You clear the board and you can just move on with the rest of your ships and start to come back into the game from there, having managed to pull off your combo. And pulling off the combo, by the way, if you pull off the combo, your win percentage for the game goes up to like 85, 90, 95. I don't know. The combo can be extremely strong. The toppling the summit is huge. And so that's why we put in this, it's like Forged Starfighter insurance policy. We're going to make sure we can pull off our combo in every game we can. It's only a 1 of, because man, I do not want to see more than 1 of this thing. But if you see it, you kind of just hold on to it. You cling on and go, okay, like you feel the game out. Like, I think I'm going to have trouble keeping the ship in play. So I'm going to hold on to this, my insurance policy. Now, beyond that, we have our aggressive starts. Kylo's TIE Silencer. I don't have any way to discard this in the deck, but there, like I said, there's a lot of discard running around, and sometimes you get a little cheeky. They attack with a Cyril Karn. They're like, woohoo, you have to either take damage on your ship you played last turn or discard a card. You go, okay, I will discard Kylo's TIE Silencer and play the Kylo's TIE Silencer, and then I'll just play a First Order Stormtrooper or a Daring Raid or something and end the turn. So that can be really nice, but otherwise, hey, it's a 2-drop 3/2. It's perfect to put a Vader on or put a Fett on later on, whatever. It's great. Strike Ship, amazing card. Man, I love this. This is so good. 0/3, Raid 3 Overwhelm. The one circumstance where it's bad is if they're playing ships also in space. Really don't want them to be playing ships in space. Thankfully, you have lots of ways to deal damage to their stuff and clear them out of the way so you can start to play your better ships. But when they're not playing to space, that turn 1 Strike Ship is crazy, because turn 1 Strike Ship follows up with turn 2 Darth Vader. And turn 2 Darth Vader on a strike ship gives you a 3-power ship with Raid 3 which then means we're playing double red. Don't forget, we get to aggression the TIE Silencer, the line of strike ship turn 1, Vader pilot turn 2, turn 3, attack with your piloted ship, aggression, kill their unit, ready your piloted ship, and attack again, pushes 18 damage to base, 7 damage to units from the 3 triggers on Vader from turn 2, turn 3, 2 attacks, and 2 indirect damage from the 2 Boba Fett triggers. It pushes a crazy amount of damage so fast. You're going to win games off of that alone. That's an incredible combo. That's why Strike Ship is so good and Vader's so good. When you find that opener, it doesn't even matter what the rest of your deck does. Just do that. If they don't have the answer, you have the game. Now, beyond that, let's look at our ships. Are going to be a lot more robust than the ships. We want to have some decent ships with decent HP that have a good shot of staying alive to be able to flip Boba onto. Can otherwise be pretty aggressive. Punishing One, been a great card since set 2. 3/4 ship for 3, which is nice. And sometimes there's upgraded units. So we have lots of upgrades in the game. You can go ahead and defeat that upgraded unit with all of your massive damage you deal, and then you get to ready up the Punishing One, especially if you put a Vader pilot onto it or your leader onto this. That can be pretty devastating for the opponent, just like when we get to aggression, the strike ship. Von Rig's TIE Interceptor, another card. It's just a 3/4 ship that has good piloting potential. When you get either Vader or Boba Fett onto this, you unlock both of its abilities, Overwhelm and Raid 1, making it push even more damage. Very nice. 2 of in there. Fett's Fire Spray. We all love it, right? This is a powerful card for Boba Fett to pilot. In general, obviously, it's just good. It's going to push a lot of indirect damage when played and on attack. But then when that Fett goes on there and he starts swinging for 8 with dealing 2 indirect, happens a lot in the deck, which is great. It feels really good. It's so strong in here. IG 2000, man, you gotta run it, right? In a Boba Fett deck, because that triggers Boba Fett. When you play it, deals all this damage, now sets up your Topple the Summit as well. If you need another source of damage to set that up, spread that damage around. Pinging things, clearing indirectly damaged things as well. It does everything, and it's a 3/4. Now here's a card from the new set. The new Punishing One takes no prisoners. I just have a couple of it in here, and it's pretty good. It's been very good every time I played it. 5-drop, 3/5. It gains Raid 1 for each damaged enemy units. If you've been listening to anything I've said, you're throwing damage around all over the place. There's going to be a lot of damage units. So this thing can be really threatening, and it starts by doing a when played deal of damage to something, trigger Boba Fett, deal an indirect damage to something. And then that's going to potentially set it up to already start swinging for 5 or 6 or something. Then you put the pilot on it, and it starts to do even more damage. Additionally, it's a cool target if you get these weird lines late game when your Boba Fett kind of failed, but you get a Punishing One down, and you're trying to get some like lethal turn action. Punishing One without a pilot is a great aggression target to ready because it gives itself a bunch of Raid 1, but not a straight attack stat. So yeah, it's like you can push some surprising damage lines with the card. It's a really nice 2 of in here. Now it's only a 2 of because a lot of our turn 5 lines, we're trying to do a couple of things. We're trying to drop something like get another Fire Spray down because answered the first one. And then you kind of want to use something like maybe a Daring Raid to push some damage because you're setting up at that point. You're really setting up for the Topple the Summit turn. So we don't always want to just put all our eggs in a basket, drop the Punishing One and have it be answered. Or maybe you want to hold on to that Force Starfighter at that point as well, but it's a good 2 of. Now, Ruthless Raider, and then following this with Devastator as well. These are our endgame cards because really you don't want to have to play Ruthless Raider on your turn 5. You want to be flipping Boba Fett. You want to be toppling the Summit or using one of our other options. But these combined with Planetary Bombardments are our capital ships that say, cool, you put a bunch of pressure on the opponent, you answer their whole board, and then they spent their whole turn dealing with your leader. Now, let's push lethal. You start getting capital ships down. They have to continue to have answers to pretty big things. And then the bombardment comes down and pushes way too much damage in their face. So Ruthless Raider, this card's insane. It's been so good since the beginning of set 1. You guys know what it does, right? 2 damage to 2 things. Pushes damage straight to base, kills their stuff, does it when defeated, so you can't even get around taking the damage. It's so strong. And speaking of can't get around taking the damage, boy, Devastator, how many games do you win just because you get this thing out there? Now, we only run 2 of this, just like we only run 2 of the other endgame stuff, because the deck is so aggressive that you really don't want to clog up your hand with the endgame stuff, but it's not a strict, like, pure aggro deck where we're trying to go low. I'm calling this aggro mid-range because we are really playing to the board, and we're trying to answer the board, clear the board, And we should try and win at that point, but we don't always. But that's where cards like Devastator come down and say, okay, here's a 9/6, also deal 4 to your base. It's going to kill you next turn, unless you take initiative right now or answer it. So, yeah, it does what it needs to do. It does a ton of damage. Triggers Boba Fett, of course, as if I need to keep saying that. But yeah, that is going to kind of close up our space units here. And we're going to move on to the events. Daring Raid. I'm like the world's #1 Daring Raid fan. I love this thing. It's so flexible. It does damage exactly where you need it to go. Triggers Boba Fett. Keep saying that. But also it's really cool in here because on that turn 4, you can have a lot of lines where you're playing other ships and then set up a Daring Raid because you're going to do your math and be like, okay, I want to flip Boba Fett next turn and kill. Maybe you don't even have Topple the Summit, but the Daring Raid can help you find that lethal damage. So you go, cool, take initiative, flip Boba Fett, kill. And now you have to deal with my thing, even though I didn't topple. But maybe you also put out a Synth to Kaz, and then you attack with your Boba Fett at that point too. So, yeah, great to have, always good to have. And also when you put so much pressure on them, you just start putting 2 to base, you win the game that way too. We already talked about aggression. Now, aggression is only a 2 of in here, and honestly, if you really like it, put 3. It's been very good. Obviously, all these aspect legendaries, when you pay 4 for them, they're fantastic. There's plenty of reason to run multiple of it. I felt it's been just kind of nice at 2. Also, I only have 2 of the really cool ones from the sector that I went to, and my other one is the other art. So now I can have 2 main, 1 side, and I know what to side out. That's a little thing I like to do. I don't know about you guys, but I like to sometimes have different art on my sideboard cards, so it's easy to remember what I sided in and out. But yeah, so that's kind of why it's 2 of in here right now. But if you like it at 3 and you like the Strike Ship Vader combos and stuff, yeah, 100%. Just put the 3rd one in because this does everything. Draw a card, kill a thing, defeats upgrades, gives you outs to lots of stuff, and then does those ready combos. Very good. Also, because its defeat is dealing damage, triggers Boba Fett. So very sick. Topple the Summit, we already talked about it. You know what this does. Planetary Bombardment. We already started to talk about this too. This is our way of saying, cool, we cleared the board. You cleared our board. Now take 6. Take 8 or take 12 if we have the capital ship as well. Cost 6. So it's something you can play as soon as you're done kind of with your flip, combo, clear, turn. Even if they have units in play, honestly, at that point, they're not going to have much, and they're not going to have a lot that they can put 8 indirect damage onto. So you know it's going to hit the base most of the time. And even if you don't always find your ways to clear the board at Topple the Summit, I'm so excited. I have a deck finally where I get to run unlimited power and feel really good about it. This is really Topple the Summit's 4 and 5 in this deck because it's not as good as Topple the Summit in that it's going to often do less damage. Well, maybe a similar amount, 7, 9, maybe it does less damage sometimes than Topple the Summit. And it's not played on the flip action, which is big because you're going to sometimes play against more aggressive decks that are going to push just as fast as you or a little faster. And you really need that action to clear the board to buy the time to be able to close the game off. But you can't always have what you want in Star Wars Unlimited. You're not always going to draw everything. But Unlimited Power says, okay, I didn't find Topple the Summit, but I can still go flip Boba Fett, give you an action to do something, and now Unlimited Power the board and clear. Yeah, it's cool. It's a really nice 2 of. It's been very useful to have just because, again, even when you don't do the combo, you push enough indirect damage where you can just clear things. Maybe you can push the combo off for a turn. You can just go, oh, actually, if I just Unlimited Power this turn, I don't have to flip my leader. They're forced to answer my board, and then I can wait for the answer to come down, then play a ship, play leader next turn, clear whatever they played. You can definitely set yourself up, and this is, again, where this like mid-range feel comes out, where you're able to really play the board, have a good game sense, know when you need to clear things, and then push and try and get your threats down after that. But it's a really nice 2 up in here. So that is the list. Again, damage. That's what's so fun about it. This is a great, in my opinion, a fantastic day 1 deck to play where you're going to do things people don't see coming. If they see green Fett, they're going to know kind of what you're doing. This is a little more surprise in here, a little more spice with those aggression combos and a lot of just pushing damage and having a good time. And the card pool is big enough now where, hey, let's have some fun. Let's run some double aggression. But before I get to the call to action here, let's talk about sideboard a little bit. Now, often in these videos, I have less defined sideboards for you. In this case, I do have my sideboard a little bit more defined here as for what I like to run in this deck. Again, though, feel free, build your sideboard the way that you want to for your metagame, for what you're going to face. But this is a fresh metagame, so I just put some stuff in that I thought was going to be useful against a wide variety of decks, but a lot of these are just filling in play sets of cards. So I have my third copy of Aggression, my third copy of Planetary Bombardment, my third copy of Unlimited Power, and my third copy of Devastator. Aggression is when I need to go faster. The other three are when we need to go later. They're going to hold us back, and we need to Bombardment. We need to Power. We need the Devastator to win. That's what they're there for. If the opponent's going to ramp, let's get our Champs and Duelas in there, okay? If they're going to go resupplies and super lasers and stuff, I want to flip my Boba a turn sooner as well. So I'm going to put my 3 Champs and Duelas in there. And then the last thing I thought, you know what? There are some pretty dumb restore things happening. Like I've seen some Satine decks. I don't really like the cut of their jib with their restore. So let's put a Confederate Tri-Fighter out there, and if we can stick a Vader on it, we might have a good time. Bases can't be healed. We're not healing. We're never going to heal. Let's just do some damage instead. I think that was a kind of a fun 3 of in there. I think there's probably definitely some room to get the sideboard tweaked, but it's the start of the new meta. Nobody knows what's super good right now, so I don't know. We'll figure it out later, but those are the cards I'm looking at for the sideboard. But that is going to do it for the Boba Fett Double Aggression deck profile. I hope you guys got excited about this. I have loved playing this deck. It has been very powerful. The Topple the Summit combos are crazy. Honestly, I think we might have to look at this Boba Fett again. There's a chance this is the third Fett that lands on the suspension list. I'm not going to say that yet. I'm not going to say it needs to yet, but people are going to be salty when they get toppled. I have had people who go, what just happened? Yep, it's clear that people are not necessarily ready to lose their entire board to Boba Fett Topple the Summit yet, so we'll see. We'll see how the meta shakes out, but for now, if you want a powerful deck, you want a fun deck, you want to do some really cool things, you want pilots, you want to jump to light speed leaders, and you want to plot some stuff, this is the deck for you. But let me know what you think about the deck in the comments down below, or what you've been enjoying, how it's done for you, how it's been against you, if you've been toppled and it's been rough. I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Super fun deck though. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We got a lot more deck profiles coming on the channel, and we'll have very soon our Secrets of Power content creator, like pre-release kit opening, all that kind of stuff. Stick around, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet for Star Wars Unlimited content. Love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all in the next one.